Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. Welcome back to Final Fantasy Chronicles of Eno. I swear at some point I'm going to be saying that intro as fast as one of those super fast talking auction people. Anyway, so with me today we have our full cast of characters. We have Hades Shadow 92 playing Thanatos, our male human Dark Knight.
I remember the one time you mistook this for Jibber Jabber.
I do not remember that, but sure.
I do remember it.
Congratulations. We have Luminous Starlight playing Rocket, the female cyborg chocobo warrior.
Making pancakes, making pancakes, copyright strike.
What? Okay, so that was a... Okay, so I'm contractually obligated and just genuinely going to say that was adorable.
Yes.
Let's see here. Next up, we have Darkness, who is playing Alicier, our male human paladin.
Hello.
Yes. And last, but most certainly not least, we have Tom 117Z, playing Neothil, our female Elvon Ranger.
It's not the only character Darkness plays for onto you. Tell anyone.
He's a master manipulator, mark my words, this motherfucker.
Just all these accounts pop up at the same time. They're all new, and they happen to have his speech pads.
So, where we last left... So where we last...
Shh. Let him do his intro.
Shut up! Where we last left off, you guys engaged in battle with the dark side influenced Elizabeth in the depths of the ancient Vieren and Claren ruin of Kinatoa.
That we did.
It was a long and grueling battle, at the close of which you were able to defeat her without killing her. And in an effort to try and help her yet more, seeing as you do not consider her your enemy, you escorted her out of the ruins of Kinatoa, back into the... and rejoined with Vis outside, the Vieren Watcher who had led you here. She then, in turn, escorted the rest of you back to her campsite, where you sat down, got comfortable, and she proceeded to make the offer to teach Alicier a spell of green magic in the hopes that using it could hopefully free Elizabeth from Murisan's influence, as Murisan was the one who was constantly tugging on her mind from afar in order to pull out her manifestation of her dark side, this angel of chains that is incredibly destructive and violent and gave you all quite the run for your money.
Also naked. NSFW.
Yeah, kind of. At any rate, you all agreed that this would be the best course of action, and with Mika wanting to sit by, help Alicier figure it out and take notes, you all agreed to have Alicier learn this new spell.
We're just giving Alicier a power soul. What could go wrong with this?
So, you all turned in for the night, following that discussion to get some rest, as your trek through Kinatoa was a very long and exhausting one. And the following morning comes to you all. And Alicier, you are shaken awake and brought out of your slumber before anyone else. You're being shaken, dude. What are you doing?
Well, for one thing, I'm wondering who woke me up early.
Indeed.
With the vision still a bit blurry.
Oh.
What? Who shook the bed? Oh.
You're not on a bed. You look up and you see Vis sort of knelt over you with a hand on your shoulder. Come. It's morning, and your lessons will not come to you.
Okay.
So while the rest of you are sort of still resting, Vis leads Alicier a little ways away so as not to disturb you. And soon enough, you're sort of by the edge of the pond, small lake that sits in the middle of her little oasis. So, first and foremost, we should establish some groundwork. I would know what spells you currently know that allow you to ease the ailments of others.
So she wants to know all my spells.
Yeah. She wants to know, specifically in game terms, she's asking what spells do you know that cure status ailments?
Well, I have Cure, which is my main one. And I have a few other protection spells, like Astra. That's kind of handy now and then. Sure. I suppose other spells I have would be... But although that's not really helping, no, that creates a vortex of wind and rocks, no. So, pretty much, those are the ones I rely on the most. You think they're any good?
Well, the spell you describe as cure, to my understanding, is used to heal wounds, not remove ailments.
No. Although recently, during the fight with Elizabeth, I did manage to pull off something. When we were all beaten down and I was just knocked back to conscious because I was knocked out, risking my life as usual. I managed to save everyone with a very powerful spell. I call it the Healing Light of the Righteous.
Sounds
It doesn't
a bit,
really cure elements, but it get them back up into the fight.
That isn't exactly helpful here, unfortunately. She then sort of turns and looks out over the water. What then do you know of how a soul operates? And you can make a lore magic check here if you so wish.
Okay, I might as well. Law of Magic.
Yep.
Hang on a second, I'm double checking something. Finally! I thought it was beginning to be pointless. I have something for that.
Yay!
Phew. Come on, whoa, don't steer me wrong now. This is my moment to shine. 11?
11. Okay. Your understanding of the inner workings of a soul and how they generally function is limited, but you do have a basic grasp of the fundamentals. That generally speaking, the soul is sort of the arcane immaterial essence of an individual. And a lot of, so for example, like memories, let's use those as an example. Memories are typically housed within the soul, but plucked by the brain, so to speak. So your brain is the conduit through which your physical body uses the memories that are housed in your soul, as one example. There's more to it than that, but that's one example of how it works. There's more to it, but you have a basic rudimentary understanding.
So we're gonna bring up Persona as well.
Yeah.
Which is a good spell in its own right, but it doesn't resolve every issue.
Well, at any rate, are you going to answer her question now that you've made your lore check?
I do know a bit about it, but not fully understand.
Well then, I suppose a bit of information is in order then. This is a spell that deals directly with souls, more often than not. Souls and bodies do share an inextricable link. Here, let me explain it to you. And she sort of crouches down by the sand, and as she starts talking and sort of explaining a bunch of fundamental concepts to you, some of which you already knew, some of which you did not, she sort of starts drawing little diagrams in the sand to sort of create visual aids for some of the more abstract or difficult to grasp concepts. And this starts going on for a good few hours, and as this is going on, the rest of the group starts to wake up and come to, and you can, as you're getting up and greeting the day, you can see Vise and Alicier off a ways, talking and crouched down in the sand. Is there anything the rest of you would like to do at this point? Any discussions you wish to have? Any actions you wish to take?
I think we're pretty chill until Alicier's done his shtick.
All right.
Then
Audience
Rocket,
come in.
once all this is done, Rocket needs to have that chat you wanted to do, didn't you, Lumina, about Labart and everyone else, gathering people.
All right. Well, if that be the case, the day slowly crawls by, and it's especially slow for you, Alicier. Mika eventually joins you and Vise as she's explaining the workings of the spell, and you take a brief detour to sort of get her caught up on what she missed. And she's excitedly taking notes and lending her own understanding of things to the discussion as it's going. And after several hours and a brief lunch break, getting on towards the latter half of the afternoon, as the sun is starting its descent for the horizon. It's not like sunset yet, but it's getting there. Vise then encourages you. All right, I think that's about enough lecturing for now. Time to see if you can practice what I've taught. She then looks over at Mika. I want you to try and reach out to her soul. I'm sorry, what?
You want me to do what?
I have taught you the base fundamentals, Vise points out. At this point, it should be doable for you to reach out and make contact on an arcane level. Not enough to influence, but enough to sense.
You give it a shot.
All right.
Wait, is it just Mika and Alistair with Vise right now?
Although I'm gonna miss.
If you want to join, if anyone wants to join them, you can. But for the moment, unless anyone wants to join them, it's just those three: Vise, Mika, and Alicier.
I was gonna say, because if Neve was there, she'd probably have something to say about that.
Do you want to be here?
Well, that's the thing.
Well, if
This is
I'm
what's
not there,
going to happen. So this is what's going to happen. That's first. And as I was about to point at staff, and then there's actually, on second thoughts, could I quickly consult a friend before I begin?
If you must, I fail to see the relevance, but very well.
It's trust me. I wouldn't have done this if it's important. I promise. I'll be right back. Give me a second.
Have you
And I rush back to find me.
Asking for permission to do some quote unquote soul searching on his girlfriend.
Would you come with me, please?
I take it all of us just around the campfire or something somewhere. So,
if that's where you want to be, sure.
yeah, say we're all
I just got a hold of
thing
around.
He comes in looking rather him.
And I just grabbed her by the arm and just slowly dragged her. Hey, would you come with me?
Hey, go. What's that? Honestly.
Thanatos,
Sorry, I just.
Thanatos looks at Rocket and Kyra just for a second. Fog-Gill says that she punches him.
I'll take that bet.
Sorry I did that, but I'd rather not say it in front of definitely Thanatos.
That's fine with me. I certainly know that he can be a betting jackass.
Okay, I need to ask your permission.
Well, Okay,
These
whatever this
want-
is, let's get away from them before Thanatos gets ammunition.
Well, that's why I freaking dragging him away from the camp.
Alright, so away. Alright.
To the face, not
What?
the gut.
What?
Maybe we're not far enough away. But alright. Just talk quietly, but
I was saying in
why
hushed
do you need
tones.
to ask permission for something, and why am I feeling like I'm not going to like this?
Oh, because you two are so close. For some reason, Vise wants me to try to connect with Mika's soul.
She wants to do what?
I don't know. I mean, I was just expecting just an interesting, I don't know, conversation, then try to cast a spell, not actually use it on one of my friends, who's also...
She wants you to experiment. with- She wants you to experiment with soul magic,
Yes.
and she wants you to use my girlfriend as a guinea pig.
What do I do? I need your help and guidance. I just don't know what the hell anymore.
Well, right now I'm just debating whether or not to make Thanatos' bet succeed.
Look, at least I had the decency to consult you first, because I don't know
Why
what to
are
do.
you experimenting with soul magic? Explain.
It's what... Look, it's Visa's idea. She wants me to. It's the only way that may help Elizabeth. But I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest. What I did back at the temple was a fluke. I didn't think it was gonna work, but hey, it did. But this... I never tried doing anything like this
Does
before. Not even Persona comes that close.
Does it have to be Mika?
I don't know. It's just what she said. So I don't know if you want to talk to her about it or what, or
Okay, I'm
what I'm
committed.
supposed to.
Alright, so you're marching up to Vise.
Or at least I'm returning to Vix and Mika. And like, okay, soul magic. The fuck?
Vise sort of raises an eyebrow. It would seem I wasn't entirely clear enough. She sort of puts her hands behind her back for a second and just sort of glances at you, Nee. What I am teaching Alicier is not soul magic, per se. It is simply an act of green magic, but green magic does deal heavily in gentle influences of the soul and body. If it is your intention to remove this malevolent parasite from Elizabeth, which I can only assume is rooted in her soul itself, given the profound effect it has on her, then Alicier has to be able to make contact with a soul. If he cannot do that, then there will be no hope of removing that parasite. And I asked him to perform this little exercise with Mika due to familiarity. Green magic works at its best when you know who you are using the spell on or are familiar with them or their people. I have very limited familiarity with all of you, so any attempts on my part to demonstrate would be, shall we say, useless.
And are there any particular risks to, connecting with someone's deepest spiritual self?
V sort of walks up to you and lifts a hand up and just kind of puts it on your shoulder. Does this hurt?
You have your hand on my shoulder, so...
It's a very gentle touch, I might add.
No, I was answering that was a blatant no.
Right. So she then pulls her hand back. The soul is more resilient than you are giving it credit for. Were it not, she then glances back towards camp where Elizabeth is, your friend would not still have her sanity.
Alright. Mika, you okay with this?
Mika then goes,
I mean, it's new territory, so I'm definitely curious.
Means I have to,
V
Well-
sort of takes a step back.
If it makes you feel any better, Mrs. Thill, know that I am right here to intervene if anything goes wrong.
Well, If Mika is alright with it, then I am too, though I'm sure you understand if I stick around.
Of course, so long as you don't interrupt.
I'll be completely silent unless he botches it, at which point Thanatos will win the bet.
You can hit me as much as you want. Now let's just get this over with and see if it works.
All right.
She plants herself on like a log somewhere.
Before I change my mind.
All right.
Okay. So, I went to do what she did.
Yep.
Oh,
V
Mika.
sort of provides some quiet guidance as you're getting situated, and she has you and Mika sort of sit directly across from each other, about 6 feet apart. And after a few minutes of sort of going over the process on a magic level and the basic process on that, eventually she sort of walks you through it, and you lift your hand up and sort of hold it out towards Mika, and you close your eyes and start focusing on the unfamiliar form of magic that you're learning to tap into. And Visa's right there by your side, quietly whispering instructions into your ear, helping you along. And I need you to make a finesse check.
Deal with that in a moment. I'm rolling first. Yeah, sorry if you heard that.
I heard of them. I don't know if you all can hear the people doing yard work outside my window.
No, you actually got great sound control.
Sweet. Even though it's really irritating to me. 10.
11 again. 10? Oh, bugger.
Yeah. Let me double check my difficulty chart here.
I might as well find out before I see what my mother wants quick.
Right. You try for a little bit, and to any outside onlookers, you see a faint bit of green, very rich, earthy green light. The same shade that you saw from Vise when she was demonstrating green magic earlier, sort of drifting up out of his hand and from his fingertips. He sort of... your brow starts to twitch as you try to focus on the spell and on Mika in front of you, but you're not quite able to get it. Like, you can sense that Mika is there on a spiritual level, even with your eyes closed and 6 feet apart. Those sensory contact, you can feel on an instinctual level that she is there. But you're not quite able to establish that contact that Vise is trying to get you to get at. A few more moments pass and it starts becoming a little uncomfortable, and Vise sort of puts a hand on your wrist.
That's enough. Stop. You're hurting yourself.
What did I do wrong? Did I not focus hard enough, or...?
No. If anything, you came far closer than I was expecting. For a first attempt.
Okay.
Considering how foreign a type of magic this is to you, the fact that you came as close as you did is remarkable. You're definitely a studious sort, aren't you?
I try my best.
The main thing I think you did wrong,
She sort of sits down next to you a bit more comfortably.
is you were trying too hard to force it. You need to remember, green magic draws most of its strength from the world around you, from nature itself, and as I've mentioned repeatedly, familiarity. While what you were doing was effective on a broader scope, for something as intimate as making contact with a soul, you were trying to force something that should be more natural. Instead of thinking of this as casting a spell, think of it as more of an abstract way of saying hello. Striking up conversation, almost. This isn't you trying to make something mechanical happen. This is you having an interaction. Bonding. Less like
See.
clockwork and more like water.
And you think I can pull it off?
If you adjust your approach just slightly, yes. Let's give it another try.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and roll that finesse check again, but add +2 to your roll this time, taking Visa's advice into consideration.
Second time a charm.
Mhm.
And it's doing a slow roll.
Of course it is.
Now it's my turn.
Rolls are best rolls.
No, oh, it's 12 this time. Because it's the same frickin' dice.
Nice. Well, all right, so you go through the motions as before, but this time following Visa's advice and trying to focus less on making it work like a machine like your other spells, and instead thinking more about Mika herself and the friendship you have with her. And after a few minutes of sort of working through that, Vis occasionally whispering little bits of redirection or encouragement, eventually it sort of clicks. And in your mind's eye, you can tell that you've made that contact. It's a strange feeling. It's almost like ballooning up on the inside, but very comfortable and relaxing. You suddenly feel lighter and more spacious. And Neve, observing from the outside, you can tell that both Mika and Alicier are experiencing the same sensation at the same time, because they both give off quiet little gasps and sort of straighten up a bit.
Holy, that happened.
Yeah, that's good, that's good. Hold that for a moment. A connection is no good if you can't keep it open.
Right,
You focus for a little bit. You hold it. 30 seconds. A minute. 2 minutes. By the time you reach 5 minutes, Vis finally sort of puts her hand on your wrist again.
Okay, that is sufficient.
And you release your hold of it. For purposes, I'm going to say that doing that cost you 10 MP, but it doesn't really matter in this context.
That was good.
good point.
For a second attempt, you did remarkably well.
He then looks over towards Mika.
And how do you fare? That was amazing feeling. Weird, but amazing.
He's right there. Please don't give me too much credit. I want to sleep tonight.
He just raises his brow.
Oh, this is why I was worried of doing this.
And so you're over back with Thanatos and Kyra. Kyra
Oh,
just sort of...
and Kyra.
Thanatos sort of glances over at Kyra.
Well, she hasn't punched him yet.
There's still time till they come over here again.
What is she just witnessing this? Or has she gone off?
I'm assuming like you're all just watching this going on.
Yeah.
Witness.
All right. Well, back with Alicier and everyone else. He sort of nods at you.
All right. That is the foundation for the spell you are to learn. Without that ability to establish contact, there would be no means for you to remove the parasite.
Something tells me it's not going to be easy, even when I am ready.
Probably not. Parasites like this tend to be, in an abstract sense, able of defending themselves. It will resist your attempts to remove it. For now, you should get a bit more practice with simply establishing links. With the rest of your friends, perhaps.
She glances over
Yes,
towards
because-
you, Nee.
Nia,
Yes,
Phil,
because
what
no-
say you?
Well, I'm right here, and if you need more guinea pigs, what the hell?
Yeah, because no offense, I don't want to keep using it on the same person over and over again, thanks.
It absorbs her time and yields little results after the first few links.
Besides,
Variety will help you gain a firmer grasp of what you are doing.
Right. And I just build myself up, I guess.
Precisely.
Okay, Nee.
Besides, I can't let you get too intimately familiar with Mika. That's my job.
Mika blushes.
But of course.
All right.
Right.
So, you doing it again, Alicier?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So,
Uh.
as before, you focus on your familiarity with Nee, what you know about her, the general friendship you have. A couple minutes pass as you're doing this. And Nee, as Alicier is sort of reaching out, you eventually feel the link being made. And as I described with him, it's like a very comfortable version of being ballooned up, sort of, so to speak. Like you're suddenly just lighter, almost as if you're full of helium, and just your insides feel very spacious and roomy, and you feel very comfortable and free and light.
Are you sure that's not just gas?
That is not gas. Gas hurts.
It's like helium. I guess that's speaking squeaky voice.
All right.
Can't get high off this.
Now, Alicier, as you are making that link, it definitely feels different from when you were linked with Mika. And you largely attribute that to just Nee being a different person. But I want you to roll an awareness check.
Fucking knew there'd be something with my soul.
I had to go.
I'm gonna be honest. This
Part of the reason why I wanted me to come here, because I had a feeling there'd be something off my soul.
Yep, that was right. I didn't need to get rid of that 4.
To be fair, I'm improvising all of this. I'm just capitalizing.
12
Well,
again.
She has 2.
All right, 12.
Okay.
Okay. Well then, so, Alicier, as you're holding that contact and just sort of getting a feel for it, it's strange. But your link with Nee begins to feel even more different from what it was with Mika. Several seconds pass, and you start to become acutely aware of something unfamiliar. Different. Your brow starts furrowing as you try to make heads or tails of it, and a second later you sort of instinctually open your eyes as you feel something sort of thrashing about. And Nee, for a second, you black out. But what Alicier sees is Nee's eyes snapping open for a second, and they're a deep shade of emerald green.
Oh, so those are the eye color from the intro. They're green, not blue. Hi, Auralia.
What do you do in response to this? You have a green-eyed Neothil just staring wide-eyed back at you, seemingly motionless, and your link suddenly and summarily cut off.
V, something happened.
V looks over. What in the world?
Is she alright?
Nee blinks, and when she opens her eyes again, they've gone back to blue, and Nee, you come back to awareness with a piercing headache.
So sorry, I didn't mean to. Did I
What the
make anything?
hell did you just do to me?
Mika's,
I don't know. I mean, I felt something unusual, like something unfamiliar to me. I haven't come across before.
Mika's immediately by Nee's side and is immediately casting Cure.
I don't feel right.
It's your second passes before V sort of puts her
I'm
hand
probably
on...
just used the sonar to try to see if it helped with the headache.
Yeah. V sort of puts her hand towards you, Nee, in a sort of a vaguely stand-downish gesture, and says,
Perhaps it would be best if we don't do this with you.
What? Why? What was that?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything quite like that. What wound up happening is, when Alicier established contact after a few minutes of holding it, your eyes suddenly turned green, and his link to you was cut.
What do you mean my eyes turned green? They're blue. They're quite clearly blue. Look at that. Blue.
Nay, hate to break it to you, but your eyes were green for a moment. It freaked me out, and you were just staring. Which I don't know if that's a stare or realize it's something, or a stare that I'm gonna kill you if you don't back off.
Right.
How are you feeling?
This is Mika talking.
I figured her voice is distinctive.
What was that?
I figured her voice is distinctive.
Right, okay.
I'm not sure. Weird. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Aside from a piercing headache, like, just off.
Silence.
Perhaps we should
I mean,
return. Perhaps we should return to the others then.
So please give me minutes. Sorry, I just have to see what my mother wanted quick.
Alright.
Maybe that's for the best.
Alright. So Mika sort of helps you get up, knee, and you all sort of slowly make your way back to camp. And as you're all sort of coming in, Kyra just sort of looks over at Thanatos and holds out a hand.
Damn.
And you lose 5 gil.
This is toss through the go.
Thank you.
She stashes it away. But as the group is returning, you all notice that knee seems shaken.
Sorry.
Alistair, what did you do?
I just got back, so I got my headphones on. She wanted me to get cake. What? Missed?
The group's returning to the camp with the others.
Thanatos is accusing you of doing something.
I'm not exactly sure, Thanatos. So please don't start.
I don't know if that was him.
Explain.
I'm an adopted Elvan girl who's been traveling the world because of being haunted by my maybe slightly demonic mother. What do you want from me?
Slightly demonic water?
From you, nothing. You sit and cuddle your Mika. I want an explanation from Alicier and Dees. What the frick happened?
Well, I'm not sure. I think Vise may know a bit more. It seems she does.
All I know for certain is what I was able to observe physically. When Alicier established a link with Ni, at first everything seemed fine. She sort of sits on the other side of the fire from all of you. But after a few minutes of maintaining the connection, something happened. The link was cut, and when they opened their eyes, Ni's had turned green. A moment passed before she blinked and they were back to normal.
Maybe Panara doesn't like you poking around Nee's soul.
I'm not so sure that was her. Those amber stars are pretty recognizable whenever she shows up. It's different.
What color are her eyes?
Panara's eyes are purple.
Oh, okay.
Let's just focus on getting Elizabeth done, and the quicker we find her in Vitae, the quicker I can know what the heck I am.
Are you sure you're okay, though?
I'd rather not answer that.
Mika sort of holds you a little closer.
Well, this certainly took a turn for the worst. Well, maybe not worse. It certainly.
I say for the strange, but let's just leave it there.
Well,
Strange. Isn't that just me?
That's basically our group in general. I mean, probably the less weird of all of us is Mika, not counting the whole bookworm thing.
It's a more common trait than you might think.
So again, the bookworm cat red mage is the most normal out of all of us.
And she is my bookworm cat red mage, Squishy.
Oh dear.
She says as she...
Mika points at Kyra and Thanatos.
Squishy's their thing.
Kyra gets a deadpan look.
You little bitch.
Mika, we agreed. We were never to speak of it again.
No, you two agreed to that. I made no such agreement because I wasn't there.
No, she has a point.
Thanatos slowly turns to Kyra. Hey, Kyra,
Yeah.
you want to see... okay, hold on. Before I say it, just make sure I got it, because I always get the two confused. It's not Mikota here. What is it?
It's Mithra.
I just turns over to... You want to see if Mithra can swim?
Kyra sort of gets this big, cheeky grin.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Just make sure you don't fall into the water again. You almost sank like a rock, Thanatos.
Can I just posit? I have a crossbow. She has a book that turns into a giant sword.
I have a scythe. She has a whip and can breathe fire.
And I have a very limited amount of patience for such chatter in my oasis.
Yes. Can you please, all of you, just stop? I mean, seriously, how the heck have we made it this long? With your bickering.
Oh, fine. See, Kyra,
Hey.
that's fun.
I mean, this is pretty normal for us, Alicier. I don't know if you noticed.
True, but now's not really the time after what you just went through. Not
Hey,
to
it
mention
cheers me.
Murasans.
Normality cheers me up when I'm reminded how I very much lack normality.
It would have lightened the mood.
Besides... Anyway. You're not wrong, though. How long until you can figure out this soul stuff to transfer this parasite to you from Elizabeth?
Green magic, but yeah. How long would you reckon, Lise?
He sort of hums.
I would encourage you to get a bit more practice in establishing links first. You know it's safe to do with Mika.
She looks over to Thanatos.
I'm not sure about you. You have that other you that just appears, correct?
I would be happy to skip him if it's okay. I don't want to know what goes on in both their souls.
And Thanatos, in your head, you hear Caius going, "Wise move. Looking at a fractured soul would only cause him more problems."
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to establish it, though, with Rocket?
Perhaps. You are of different
Oh.
species, but you have traveled together for a long time. It's feasible.
Oh boy. Well,
At any rate,
of course.
get some more practice however you deem fitting. I'll teach you the more finer points of the spell itself come the morning, once your grasp of the fundamentals is firm.
Fair enough.
Alright. So, after that, V sort of, gets up.
Now, if you'll excuse me, there are a few small matters I need to attend to around my home. I'll be back soon. Try not to cause any trouble.
And she
No
turns
promise,
and
sir.
sort of- and
I
sort of-
make sure Thanatos is on his best behavior.
And she sort of goes and wanders off, and a few of her cactars kind of fall into step behind her, sort of cartwheeling slowly along.
Well, this has been an interesting day.
Indeed.
When do we not have interesting days?
Sometimes I wish we had less interesting days.
So, what are the rest of you doing for the rest of this day? It's mid-afternoon, getting on towards sunset at this point, so...
Well, Alicier's got homework.
Indeed.
I'm pretty sure the rest of us are just awaiting when we can be out of here.
Alright, well, Alicier, do you want to try and establish links with anyone else?
Well, give it a shot with Rocket, although I was hoping for Reese to be here to do that, but oh well.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Hmm.
She comes back a little later, we'll say, and you can do it with her supervision. So go ahead and make me another finesse check.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we need to do finesse? Because I skipped the last one.
Nii and Mika have a similar enough like physical and spiritual structure as far as you knew at the time that you didn't need to make the roll. We were just using your previous one, but Rocket is a different beast entirely, both literally and metaphorically, so roll me that finesse check.
I just think, Alicier, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is you fuck up, and then she kicks you so hard it ruins your family line.
Thanks. Although that's not really required, because I'd probably die before I even reach that point. Being a paladin and all, I have a habit of throwing myself into danger.
Happy thoughts.
Yeah. Try being a paladin.
Try being a dark knight.
Nope.
Yeah, no. You try, and you try for a while, and while you feel like you theoretically could form that link, you get the impression that Rocket's general structure is so different that it would be very difficult to actually pull off. In part, not just because of the division by species and origin, but also because the Rocket you know is technically largely born of the Magitech that amplifies her natural intelligence by a significant degree. And you've seen it before when her Magitech parts shut off, she regresses back to animalistic behavior. So while her natural intelligence is, generally speaking, greatly enhanced by her Magitech parts to the point of being comparable to regular people, her soul does not mirror that. Her soul is still that of an animal, and it shows. It's very difficult to form that connection because it's finicky.
She is a bird down to her very core.
Indeed.
Well, it was worth a try. At least nothing bad happened.
Yeah. Your family line is safe for now.
Does Rocket have anything to say about that?
Are you okay, Rocket? Did you feel anything?
Not really, no.
Yeah, it was just kind of tingly for you, but that was about it.
Tingle.
Just a tingle. Well, is it getting late at this time?
Yeah, the sun's like kissing the horizon. They are making out something fierce.
Well,
I say Mika, not in front
besides
of
all,
me.
well, I think that's made me feel a bit exhausted. I leave you lot to do whatever, but I'm taking an early night.
Probably a wise idea. You've been working hard all day. Get some rest. We'll continue your lesson in the morning.
Thanks.
All right. And I assume the rest of you are bedding down for some sleep as well?
Mm-hmm.
Not all we can do. We're stuck here until he figures it out.
Oh, that reminds me. The bet thing he was doing. What happened with that?
I lost.
Kyra lost. Or wait, no, Kyra won. You lost.
Ha!
You cost us 5 gil, Alicier.
Oh, don't worry. We got plenty of it now. Luckily you didn't bet higher, or I would have hit you with my staff.
Alright. And, well, so you all bed down for the night. And as you are, Tom, if you would be so kind as to roll a d12 for me, please.
If
Panara time.
like, what the fuck was that?
Panara time. It's like, I felt something. What happened? What happened? Did somebody tell you what happened?
I briefly re-emerged my past old life self. So just roll 1d12.
It's Panara time.
2.
Your peace goes undisturbed.
Damn.
Although when you awaken, you still have a lingering headache. It's not nearly as bad as it was, but it's still present.
I would say Alicia's been visiting a bit as he sleeps.
Yeah. Anyways, come the morning, as before, V sort of takes Alicier aside, gets comfortable and starts walking you along with Mika. You know, she volunteers to come and help out with the guinea pig stuff again.
Oh dear.
I mean, she's felt it. I mean, she knows how it works now, so she's comfy.
Wait a minute. Hang
And
on.
she's probably the safest out of all of us.
Wait. I just realized something.
What?
Why is it only Mika I can connect with?
I mean, did you try? Did you even try to connect with Kyra?
I mean,
I
I
was.
don't know Kyra all that much.
I thought I didn't want to interrupt their little moment.
Listen, Rocket's a bird, knee is weird, and I technically have an extra passenger, so yeah.
Extra passenger. You're lucky she didn't hear you.
Extra passenger is not quite accurate. It's more that it's just one soul that just kind of broke itself in half.
Yeah. I technically have 2.
You have one soul that's broken.
Yes. Who knows? I might decide to do it on Kaya.
I would love if he
Right.
tried it with Thanatos and just ended up having Caius in his face going, hey.
Well, at any rate, over the course of the next day, Vise begins walking you through the processes of how to extract things using this sort of contact. And it's a very intricate lesson. There's a lot of concepts that at first are kind of like very high-end, very abstract things. But with Mika's help and some more visual aids, you're quick to catch on and grasp what Vise is talking about. And eventually, this is like noon on the second day of your training for the spell. Vise sort of nods to you and Mika. Very well. I think it's time for the first proper casting of the spell itself.
To admit, I think this is even more complicated than what I learned in the academy.
It's certainly
I just hope it
different, how much I've been able to deduce. No kidding. Now then, V sort of turns to Mika. I am not willing to put any malevolent forces on you for the sake of this, but there has to be something to extract, something to remove. And as such, I leave it to you to decide something to place on yourself. Do you have anything non-harmful that still counts as a malevolent force? A few. I can make myself... I know a spell that can lock up all my muscles and make me stop in place. I know a spell that can put me into a magically induced sleep. But that's about it. Well then, the spell that locks you in place would work better in this scenario, I think. Alright.
Then
Are you
Vise,
sure you want to do this?
It's not really harmful, it's just inconvenient for a minute.
Okay.
Alright.
Vise steps back and sort of puts her hands behind her back.
Once again, if something is going to go wrong, I will intervene and prevent it. Begin when ready.
A few moments pass before Mika sort of,
Okay, never cast a spell on myself before. This ought to be interesting.
and she pulls out her book, flips it open, and a few moments pass, and she expends the MP and casts Stop on herself with no attempt to resist it. And any of you who are watching from afar see like the abstract clockwork ring sort of appear at her feet and rise up around her in tandem with her motions, and then and she just kind of freezes in place.
I've felt that before. It's weird.
It's uncomfortable, though not painful.
Of course, I was holding a fireball at the time.
That just kind of flickered and faded.
Yeah, you just got the wordo.
So yeah, all right. Now, Alicier, Vise nods at you to begin. I would like you to make a finesse check again.
Okay. Alicier will close his eyes and take a deep breath
Don't
and
fuck it up.
give it a shot. Shit!
Oh shit! All right. So, with all of the practice you got connecting to other people's souls the previous day, you're able to, especially with Mika, you're able to establish the link with virtually no problems. And as you do, V sort of comes up to your side and gives you a few whispered instructions, and soon enough you get what she's talking about, and your mind drifts, and you can feel and practically almost see in your mind's eye the force that is binding Mika in place, holding her muscles stiff and rigid, keeping her from moving even an inch.
Oh. I did it?
You're almost there. You can feel it, yes? The restrictions?
Yeah. Yes.
Then comes the final part of this spell. You need to draw it into yourself. Pull it along the link, away from her, and into you.
I feel it. I got it.
Yep. With that critical success, I'm not going to have you roll again. You pull on the effects of the stop spell, and a few seconds pass before Mika suddenly relaxes and is able to move again, while Alicier, as you pull it over into yourself, you suddenly stiffen up and you can no longer move, and you are inflicted with stun. Or not stun, but stop. And Vise nods.
Okay. Now, try to repress it.
And I need you to make a force check.
Of course. And Alasar's mind is like, oh, this is unbearable. At this point.
What you want to do is unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can do this. Ah, shit.
You can't do this.
All right. Well, you try for a minute to force it down, but you're not quite sure you are able to quite get it before the spell wears off on its own and your muscles relax and you're able to move again.
Well, got half done.
It's very good progress. Very good. If nothing else, you have the fundaments down. You are now capable of casting the spell, though more practice would definitely be required of you. Whether or not you wish to use it on Elizabeth now or get in more practice, I leave to you.
If you do some more practice, there's like a
As much as
challenge.
as much as I really want to help her and get it out of her, I need more practice. I have to make sure I get it just right.
Then
I can't afford to mess this up.
let's get more practice in.
Damn it, I was so close to pulling it all off.
All right. Mika is going to go ahead and get ready to cast Stop on herself again whenever you're ready.
Here we go again.
All right. She casts a spell. You see her lock up. And we're going to keep using that nat 20 from before to make contact and pull the effects. Since you just sort of got it. It just sort of clicked in your head. It's like, oh, that's how it works. Okay. So I just need you to make another force check this time. Go ahead and add an additional +1 to your roll.
And then it'd be a 4.
Indeed.
Come on.
Better.
Indeed.
Bloody.
You have a much better grasp of what you're doing this time as the foreign sensation washes over you and you pull Mika's stop spell into yourself and you begin to try and force it down, and after a moment you're able to disperse the effects of the status ailment upon yourself.
Second time a charm.
Indeed. And Alicier, if you would be so kind as to check your Discord chat here in a second, I will have sent you your end of arc ability.
Yay!
Okay. Purified touch?
Can we know what it does, Almighty DM?
Sure,
Yeah,
I'll read it
I
off.
was gonna say, why don't you...
It's called Purifying Touch, and once per combat, Alicier may lay his hands upon a single party member in a short range. He restores HP to them equal to his mind times half his level, or times his level rather. He may also choose between spending a point of destiny and remove all of their negative status ailments, or keep the point of destiny to move those status ailments onto himself while reducing their remaining time by half.
Hang on. I'm no longer weak to shadow attacks?
We'll get to that. See here. You may also select one negative status ailment for the target to become immune to for the duration of the battle. You can use the ability again so long as you spend an additional point of destiny for each use. So the first use would only technically cost 1 if you chose to just disperse the negative status ailments, or 2 if you chose to just take them onto yourself. Future uses would cost 3 if you took them onto yourself. And yes, as a passive ability with this, you no longer have a weakness to shadow attacks. You still take normal damage from them, but it doesn't get doubled.
Which I like.
That's a good thing. Now I'm not the only one who can tank shadow attacks.
It's very, very useful.
Right.
Rocket doesn't take double from Shadow either.
Indeed.
That she does not.
Yeah. Nah, but she does take double from lightning.
She takes 50% extra from lightning and water.
And water. Which is why she did have armor that had the water element at that point in time.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you now know that spell. That is an ability you can just use now.
That sounds very useful.
Indeed. I'm happy.
And
now you must-
And V's by your side nods encouragingly.
Very, very good. I think you have it.
Moment of truth.
And you think it's enough to save Elizabeth?
Perhaps. There's only one way to find out.
Well, I could take another rest, but I want to really get it out of her. So, I guess I should try while I still have it.
Sure.
Here goes nothing.
All right. So you
I'll
make
have
your
to
way.
find Elizabeth.
Yep. So you make your way back to camp, and for the record, Elizabeth has just kind of been sitting off to one side, keeping to herself and being quiet the whole time, just kind of idly observing everyone else and not really engaging in conversation or activity, just keeping to herself and keeping quiet. You get the impression she's trying to avoid any stimulus right now.
Forgive me for interrupting your peace, Elizabeth, but I think I'm ready to extract it from you.
Is that so?
Of course, if you still want to.
Just get this damn thing out of me. As long as it
Okay.
remains bound to me, I have no free will of my own.
Right. Let's get it over with then.
All right. So you sort of sit down in front of her, about 6 feet away, as V's instructed, and the rest of you can sort of see this happening. It's sort of just next to camp. Now, sir, you lift your hand up, you close your eyes, and you engage the ability. I won't have there be any destiny cost associated for this particular use. as you reach out and make contact, and for a moment Elizabeth sort of visibly shies away when she senses that contact, but eventually she relaxes and you're able to establish the link. It's more fragile than it was with the others, partly because you haven't known her nearly as long or nearly as well, but the experiences you've shared lately have given you enough familiarity to form the link. Once you have that link established, you sort of begin to search through what of her soul she leaves open for you to look through. It's sort of an abstract, instinctual thing. And as you're searching, it begins to feel less abstract and more tangible. And eventually you sort of blink open your eyes and you find yourself no longer sitting in front of Elizabeth in that oasis. You're standing in the middle of a large, seemingly endless void filled with red light and blue wisps of light and energy that are sort of drifting around you. You see darkened gems floating all around you, as large as you are, bound together by large chains, and the color of the gems varies. Some are white, some are blue, some are red, some are even green. And in each one you can see reflections of events that you are both familiar and unfamiliar with, as seen from Elizabeth's point of view. As you sort of look around a little more through this expanse that you recognize now as your mind's interpretation of the inner workings of Elizabeth's soul, you see something up ahead. An undulating mass of shadow, radiating little wisps of black fog and smoke that pool over an invisible floor beneath it, like a cloak or a long cape that is many, many sizes too long for the wearer. Just there, ahead of you. Little lines as if strings of pitch blackness connected to some of the chains that bind the gems and some of the gems themselves, rooting it in place. What do you wish to do?
I suppose see if it shows any form of signs of reacting to me before I go near it.
The shadow?
Or something like that.
The shadow does not presently seem to be reacting to your presence. It's just remaining static.
I cautiously get closer to it. I want to reach out towards it.
You reach out toward it to try and pull it into yourself, I'm assuming?
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
As you reach out, you sort of, just as your hand is about to touch it, a shadowy hand reaches out of it and grabs you tightly by the wrist. And it hurts too. You can instantly hear the metal of this abstraction of your gauntlet sort of bending and creaking under the grip of this thing. And I need you to make an opposed force check against it.
Oh, shit. I had a feeling something like this was going to happen.
Don't fuck it up.
You need
You beat 12.
You must beat a 12.
Wait, it has the same force as I? Oh, great.
You must beat a 12.
That's a rough roll.
Yeah, I'm rolling it blindfolded. Or in this case, my hand over my eyes.
Yes!
You did it.
Awesome.
Just
So, a few seconds pass where you struggle against it, and you can, feel its fingers digging through the cloth and the armor and actually starting to burn at your skin. And when that pain starts reaching you, that's the last straw. And with a shout, you manage to rip your hand back. The hand that gripped you sort of dissolves and turns long and wispy, like ink pulled through water by a hand moving through. And as it does that, the shadow undulates and billows out, like millions of locks of wiry hair blowing in an unfelt breeze. And you hear this agitated, low, multi-voiced hiss of a whisper emanating out from the undulating shadows. But not deterred, you call on the knowledge of the spell you've been taught. You reach your hand out towards it, light gathering around you. I need you to make an opposed finesse check to attempt to pull it into yourself as it resists.
Okay. This is not your host no longer. So leave with me.
You must beat a 9.
9?
In other words, get in my body.
Get in my belly!
Of
You
course,
would look
fat
good in my belly.
Never gonna forget, fat bastard. Right. Get the fuck out! Shit. Oh,
Not shit.
hick.
Alright.
Not shit.
Not shit. All right, 11. Okay. All right, so as you reach out to it, you can feel like this invisible force trying to push you back and resist you, but you push through and you push through. The shadows start lashing at you like 1,000 tiny whips, and it burns and it burns, and you take 5 points of damage. But regardless, you manage to push through the resistance. You curl your fingers tightly into the massive shadow. It's thrashing and resisting. And with a shout, you give it another hard tug, and the whole thing just comes out from where it seemed to have been rooted in place. The strings that bound it to the chains and gems are suddenly severed. It sounds like you're being surrounded by 1,000 whips, lashing all at once, slicing at your skin. But undeterred, you pull it and hold it in place and concentrate and focus, and slowly but surely, it all sort of goes flowing into your chest, and the moment the last of it disappears, the air around you, this void that is Elizabeth's heart and soul, falls into blessed silence, save for a gentle, ethereal ringing that accompanies this space. To everyone else outside looking, just as a heads up, the way it sort of looked to the rest of you is, as Alicier was sort of doing the spell, after a minute, he began, like, wincing and quietly grunting with strain, and so did Elizabeth. Both in clear discomfort, but then they, after a few moments, both began to relax and calm down. And back in the abstract space... Yep, and you're back in the abstract space, and you pull your hand back, take a deep breath. A few seconds pass. Suddenly, the environment around you twitches and shifts, and you're no longer standing in the abstract space that was Elizabeth's mind. Instead of the gems and chains and red void that made up her soul, you find yourself in a very different space. And you recognize it as your own. Just on an instinctual level, you know you're looking at your mind's personal abstraction of the inner workings of your own soul. You can see the points where your memories are shown through, the links that connect them. I leave the aesthetic of this space up to you, as it is your character. But as you look around for a little bit, you see the shadowy thing that you just pulled out of Elizabeth is currently, like, thrashing around ahead of you a little way, sort of flying around aimlessly as if it's confused. And you see more of its strings starting to come out and go shooting off to latch itself onto parts of your soul now. But before you have much of a chance to do anything in response, it suddenly stops. Interesting. And the shadow just sort of dissolves and disappears. And when it does, you see Murasan standing in its place, looking towards you. Very interesting solution, Alicier. I must admit, I had not counted on the Vieira offering to teach you such a technique.
I guess you're not used to surprises then, are you?
I'm used to nothing but surprises, but this one was pleasant.
Well, don't get too comfortable. You're not staying long.
Of course not.
Neither.
With the shadow removed from Elizabeth, I have no more use for it. Besides, your work in Kinatoa was more than sufficient. I have no more need to monitor things here. He sort of looks around at your soul space for a second. It's quite bright in here. It should make for an excellent shield when the game begins.
Trust me. When we are done with you, it be game over. And you are going to lose. Along with your master.
You get the impression that he's smiling at you under that hood. If that is the end you seek, then make sure you're where you need to be. He then turns and begins to walk away from you. The pieces on the board are almost all in place. Don't be late for yours. And he sort of waves his hand at you almost casually and disappears. And you feel that the presence of the parasite has been removed completely from your body. Murasan has withdrawn it. And a second passes and you are back in the material world. Back in the oasis.